Pillars of Eternity continues.
Welcome, folks, to another episode of Pillars of Eternity. I will be your host, Ron Stock. Huh? How did you get in my game?
Well?
Game Hoarder, what the hell is going on here? Who let him in? I go where I please, Lug, you imbecile. This is my game now. I'm taking this shit over. I'm leader of this party, see? Look at me. First place in the down left corner of the screen. What the? I will be joining along. I will be the mastermind behind this adventure. You are just a moron.
Welcome, folks. Back to what might be the most epic video of the entire series. As you can see, somehow Ron Stock has embezzled his way into the game of Pillars of Eternity, and there's nothing I can do to stop him.
That's right.
So, we're going to allow him to stick around for now, as I do like having double wizards. Let's go over some changes since the last episode, beside the fact that we now have Lug and Ron Stock, as it should be, as it was in Baldur's Gate. Let's take a quick look-see here. The first thing you'll notice is that this portrait is another custom portrait by none other than SciArt. I don't have the original in here because I replaced it, but if you pull up your original, this looks like a grand modification over the original face. Not to mention the plate armor, the breast armor that was put over the black shirt that this Death Godlike was wearing. The entire picture is reversed. This extra armor on the head was added. These little wisp of shadows were added. And the entire picture was sharpened up and looks substantially better. So what we're going to try to do, and I do say try because this is quite a lot for Sci to take on by himself, but we are going to try to update both portraits of Ron Stock and Lug as they change throughout the game. Which leads me to this portrait. You'll now see that Sci has added a helmet to match our open helm. So yes, this is going to be probably the most epic Let's Play of Pillars of Eternity you have ever seen. Constant modification to the portraits. Just these two, however. We're not screwing with NPCs, and the rest of the party will be NPCs for this playthrough. Maybe in the future, I'll create all 6 characters. We'll get Clot, we'll get Trog, Lo Wang, who knows? But this was a surprise that Mr. Satan actually asked for to happen, and since this Let's Play is dedicated to him and Wifey Satan, I decided, hey, it's a pretty good idea, actually. I also didn't know that you could create a second character here in the tavern. It only cost me 250 copper to do it.
Good day, stranger.
So why not? You just go right here. You buy a level 1 adventurer for 250 copper pieces. This might have changed over time because Mr. Satan was thinking it was more like 2,000, so I'm wondering if they lowered it. Because if that was the case, I wouldn't have been able to afford doing this at this point. Anyways, I hope everyone is as excited about this as I am.
Hi?
Let's get the group together. Lug will remain the leader. He was the primary character created. Thus, when we transfer information and data, which it appears you can do over to Pillars of Eternity 2, all the choices that you make in this game have some kind of impact or effect in Pillars of Eternity 2. The characters are apparently reduced back to their level 1 with nothing on them for obvious reasons, so that you don't just trounce through the game. So what we'll end up doing is transferring Lug over, and then once again picking up Ron Stock at the tavern in Pillars of Eternity 2. I think the secret's out. Alright, so
Well?
now we're here gathered with 3 adventurers, Lug, Ron Stock, and Aloth.
Yes?
Yes?
Well?
Gods keep you.
Well?
Anyone seen Pearly around? He's usually drinking his head off this hour of the day. Nice and dry in here.
As you wish.
Let's check out who we have around here. We got a barrel, some villagers, an Orland server. Might be considered stealing. Strom Brightblade, huh? Reminds me of a character from Dragonlance. Very similar name. So we have a couple named characters up there. There's Tenfrith in the back. Cooking. Like the little icons with the direction arrows that show us where everybody is. It's not on screen. Whoa. As you near, you feel a vibrant history contained in the essence of this woman's soul. Voices from its past seem to call out to you. We'll reach out for the soul. You see a woman emptying her satchel onto her bed, taking stock of her inventory. Potions, bandages, tinctures, and herbs are scattered throughout her room haphazardly. She bites her lip, head tilted to the side, considering. She begins to repack one item after the other. Careful deliberation undercut by shaking hands. Each item has a clearly marked place, but no matter how she repacks it, she isn't satisfied. The shaking worsens as she empties it out once more, one hand held to her mouth. Tears eke from her eyes as she gives up all semblance of order and shoves everything she can into the satchel, grabbing it and running out of the bare house. Straightening her back, she walks to the docks, chin high, eyes hard and red. A ganglion elf offers her condolences, but she can't see him for the ocean ahead of her. She wanders the docks, offering her services as a doctor to any who will listen, anyone heading out on the high tide. Less than an hour later, she watches her childhood disappear in the distance, a tiny speck of an island, and tries not to jump. Alright, so it seems we get a bit of insight on people and their past, their thoughts. Strom Brightblade. As you near, you feel a vibrant history contained in the essence of this man's soul. Well, I think we're going to be reading everyone's soul, folks. Mr. Satan would get quite unhappy if I skipped the soul. You see a group of young men standing around a makeshift practice target. This man stands in the middle of them, explaining the construction and use of the bow. He holds it up, pointing out each part as he speaks out about it and what it does. He then walks away from the target, telling them to remain where they are, and takes his place about 200 feet away. He carefully lines up his shot, explaining what he is doing as he does, and lets the arrow fly. It hits the target dead center, much to the surprise and delight of the boys near it. He smiles, walking toward the boys, talking about proper stance and how to most effectively hold a bow. A noise comes from the tree line near their practice venue, and he stops, scanning the woods, blue eyes squinting against the sun. A shadow moves, making its way through the forest behind them. He draws an arrow and lines up the shot, carefully tracking the motion of the hidden creature. Loosing the arrow, he wastes no time and quickly grabs another. The boy spins, watching the arrow fly into the forest, immediately lost amongst the trees. There's a sudden explosive movement in the undergrowth as a deer erupts from the tree line, running across the edge of the clearing. The boys laugh, turning to joke with the man about his lousy shot. They stop talking, seeing him holding the bow and leading the deer with a knocked arrow. They drop to the ground as he looses his last arrow, which flies true and strikes the deer right behind its shoulder, piercing heart and lungs, and dropping it dead almost immediately. The boys stare at the deer for a few seconds and then slowly turn to look at the man, newfound respect in their eyes. He smiles again and breathes a quiet sigh of relief. So a hunter, archer, ranger of some sort, and a possible roguish figure. But no option to talk to them. Right? No. I don't think we can do anything with the drunkard here.
And who are you then? Another fool come to answer Redrick's invitation? Our great lord had my sister run out of town after the boy was born. She's the only family I left. Not sure where she is now. Places, I need another drink.
Amen to that. Oh. Got some halflings hanging out here. Some carousers. Roaches scatter and flee under the crates. Elaine says Radric's paying good wages for the new hands.
Good for them.
What is it?
Grab a drink, friend. Not much else of worth in this town. Says the woman from Thane. Hey, you said we wouldn't mention Thane.
What is it?
I actually disabled Ronstog's voice because none of them were even remotely close. Luglug's obviously doesn't quite sound like him, but it does sound like a mean barbarian at least, and there was just nothing that... the sinister voice and the cocky voice, they're way too lighthearted. They're good voices for rogue elves at best. I'm not sure I'm going to bother trying to put my own voices in this like I did Baldur's Gate, but you never know. It's going to be a long Let's Play, so we'll see. I already got Sai very busy with artwork and stuff. So I will look into it at some point, most likely.
I'll see it done.
But I'd rather focus on getting videos out to you guys. Oh shit, here we go with the books. Here we go with the books. Alright, we're gonna keep them under control as much as I can.
10 years I tilled the Voras leaf, and 10 years I told myself that living in St. Waidwin's footsteps would bring me rebirth. Each dawn I'd pray that if thou art in darkness, he shall bring thee light, and each night would bring the same emptiness. For my decade of living as a simple dye farmer, all I have to show for it is a great deal of purple clothing. Eothas has not spoken to us since he appeared at St. Waidwin. It was my hope that Eothas would claim me as his next vessel, but alas, the child of light remains silent. Every day I practice the ritual of banishing the shadows of the unfaithful, and every day I work my fields in solitude without sign of Eothas returning. If thou art in darkness, he shall bring thee light, but how long must I remain lost in this long night of abandonment? Is this my punishment for keeping my faith secret? Is Eothas hiding from me until I shout my reverence for all to hear? Surely he must know that the Derwidians now hate him and his followers. My countrymen are quick to blame all that was terrible about the Saints' War on those who of us still faithful to Eothas. Should they not be angry at the Red Sarah soldiers? Did the Derwidians not realize that to dismiss the god of rebirth and redemption is to prevent all hope of healing? As I pen these words, I know that I must continue to till the dye leaf. I will awake each day with hope. If thou art in darkness, he shall bring me light. Each day I will pray that the dawn stars visit me just as they visited St. Waidwin in his field of Volas. Will they come to me as they came to St. Waidwin? As a man and two women, luminescent and perfect. I am told they come to presage new times. I am told many things, and I struggle to find the faith to believe it all.
And yet, each morning the sun rises in the eastern sky, and each morning Eothas illuminates my simple plotted land, casting away the shadows of the unfaithful in his golden gaze. I thank thee, Eothas, for all the springs I've had, and all that will come. I am in darkness. Please bring me light. That book is titled 10 Years of Dawn. Why is that shaking like that? It's fucking weird. I'm going to take this book and burn it. It's evil. What are you doing in my room?
Please leave me be. I'm full of sickness with what I have seen in this place and its people.
Yes? I'll have it in no time.
Oh, we better save before we start getting crazy.
I'll
I
have
haven't
it
picked
in
the
no
lock
time.
in front of somebody yet. I don't even know how to pick a lock. Oh, we would need difficulty 3.
I'll see what I can do.
I'm honestly not even sure what I'm looking at. Assuming this is automatic, we did give Aloth some mechanics. Oh, yeah. No, I didn't, because I didn't level him like I said I was. So let's try this out. We're just going to pump lore or mechanics into him, because Ronstock is obviously going to be our lore master. So we'll use this guy as a mage thief for a while. I do need to get a spell, though. Ghost Blades is pretty pimp. I like the AoE. Thought of doing dual AoE with Ghost Blade. And then we have all kinds of fun stuff over here. I like the Grimoire Slam where you can attack them with the book. Area of Effect spell generates a blast on the target when using Wand, Rod, or Scepter, doing a modest amount of damage to all enemies in a small area. Grants Blast. Seems pretty cool. Let's try that. Let's try it all.
I'll see what I can do. The work of a moment.
Ah. You don't mind if I take this, do you? Oh, okay.
What is it?
That's right, you ain't gonna do nothing about it, though, you little bitch. We take it. Minor Ring of Deflection. Let's go on our on stock, man. I mean, honestly, with the way armor is right now, should probably put it on our melee guy, our tank. It's a +5 minor ring of deflection. Mr. Satan informed me that we cannot scribe spells from scrolls in this. It has to be done from grimoires itself, meaning that I gotta figure out how to do this. Because Aloth's gonna have a book, so I can. It would cost 100 copper for Aloth to learn. Kind of cost some with grass, so that's a spell that Ronstock has, and Aloth can learn it for some monies. Not sure we need to do that at this point. I wonder how much robbing I can get away with. You know, our reputation is not going to be too great. Crammed behind the books is a drawing that shows Eothas and Lord Redrick in a compromising position. Like They're fucking spooning? I'm assuming that's
I'll
what
have
that
it in
means.
no time. The work of a moment.
I don't think we need to steal that. Oh, new book. Oh, we're taking your lockpicks. The Deerwood, Part 1, Early Colonial History.
No other land has such a wild and bloody recent history. From colony to Palatinate to Free Republic, the Deerwood has undergone a trial by fire to emerge as a powerful force of the Eastern Reach. Deerwood's history actually begins in Eder in 2602 AI. The Deer explorers returned from a journey across the ocean with tales of the treasures they'd found. They discovered countless ruins scattered through the forest, as well as plains to the north of the trees that would be perfect for growing Volas. There was a problem, however. The locals were hostile and there was potential for conflict. The fair Koning of Eder, first king, knew that this was too good an opportunity to pass up and sent more explorers to scout and map the area. Exploration continued over the next 20 years. Small groups of explorers traveled back and forth between Eder and this new world, with a handful of colonists setting up small camps to establish a base for the explorers to work out of. Conflicts of the locals, who the Ederians learned are called Glanfathans, were rare but frequent enough for Fair Koning to send a small squadron of guards to help protect his citizens. These guards established a central base on a river in the western section of woods. The settlement would eventually become the city of Deerford, upon which the modern-day village of the same name is presently built. Once that base was established, the first permanent... Oh, lost my place. Oh, shit. The first permanent Ederian settlements began north and west of the Vale River. Over the next 3 years, thousands of Ederians made the trek from Eder to this new land. The Glanfathans, who seemed to be revered, the ruins scattered through the forest, caused a few problems with some of the settlements, especially those founded near the ruins themselves. These were easily taken care of by colonists with the help of the Imperial Guard. The Ederians, in order to further their foothold in the area, reduced the cost of production, and in an attempt to the Glanfathan population, in an attempt to keep further, wait, where are we? Shit. In an attempt to keep the Glanfathan population under control, started making slaves out of the Glanfathans captured during the uprisings. This resulted in a great increase in tension between the two groups. I'm getting old and my eyes are getting bad. With the population of the area growing, an official governmental structure was established by the Fair Konig. He appointed several earls to preside over the land and assign them thanes to help run their territories, and they called the new Gerfram the Deerwood. Deerford remained the center for the Imperial Guard, but the settlement in Pearlwood Gulf, New Dernrid, was the true seat of power for the area. Sitting at the edge of the ocean, forest, fertile farmland, and a river that runs from the coast to the White March, settlers flocked to the area, hoping to establish names for themselves. The air began to spread across the new land. Right. The colonizing of Deerwood and Deerfort and deer and all that shit with deers. I'm not a big fan of deers. What else do we have in here? We'll talk to these guys on the way out. This hound stares intently at the covered window, head cocked as if waiting to hear a particular sound. It looks up when you approach and whines a low note, tail wagging slightly. The dog's tail thumps happily against the floorboards.
Yes?
You must gather your party before venturing forth.
What? Had to hear it. That made my balls tingle. Cool little outside mini deck bridge area, I guess. Maybe not.
As you wish.
Uh-oh, more reaching for souls. This is Dustlock. Now Jettab. You see a man soar through the air, hitting a nearby wall with a nauseating crunch. He doesn't get up. His attacker, a burly, clean-cut warrior with a carnivorous grin, turns and shoves his fist into the stomach of another assailant, removing another from the impromptu brawl. The bar is a whirlwind of elbows, knees, fists, and feet, with no end in sight, and he is in his element. In the corner, three smaller men speak quietly, throwing malicious glances at the larger man in the center. He breaks a chair over a tattooed head, cackling. The trio position themselves in three parts of the room, and with a terse nod they charge. Unfortunately for them, the man sees them coming. Something in his eyes burns brightly, and all three slump to the ground in agony. That's all in their minds. The burly man bows to the room of the unconscious and incapacitated before sauntering out, off-key, whistle trailing behind him. Sela Amin. As you near, you feel the vibrant history contained in the essence of this biatch. You see a long, empty road cutting through two large crop fields. The air is silent and the land seems too still for early afternoon. This woman walks slowly on the road leading a horse, curiously looking around. She seems to sense something wrong, but is unable to discern what it is. She stops, sniffing at the air, her nose high. Her brow crinkles and she casts about, looking for something. The air is clear, no clouds. She sniffs again, looking around, confusion clouding her face, mouthing a single word: fire. She looks out across the fields, her confusion turning to fear. She holds her hand up to block the sun from her eyes and scans the fields again. Not finding what she's looking for, she jumps onto her horse's back, and fear quickly becomes panic. She kicks, sending the horse shooting down the path, which bends around some trees to where the farmhouse should be. She pulls up short, horror now in residence on her face as she stares at the burned and charred mess that used to be her family's home. Tears well in her eyes as she kicks again, racing to the rubble. And last but not least, Shane the Shakes Mudrian. You see an emaciated boy in chains, black holes for eyes, staring sightlessly at a wall. A man in a dark coat walks in a scroll and an oddly shaped quill in his hand. The boy glances at him expressionless, a corpse waiting for animation. The man clucks at him, disapproval clear in his tone. The boy stands, limbs hanging. The man takes the quill and begins to write on the boy's chest, copying sharp, angular symbols from the scroll. The child doesn't flinch as the quill digs into his skin, drawing blood as it goes. The wizard finishes with a flourish and barks some arcane command, setting the symbols to glow dully. The boy cries out, knees hitting the stone hard, his chest burning black and red. Finally the glow disappears, leaving only hard black scars etched into the skin. He slumps sideways, twitching, eyes facing the back of his skull. The wizard grunts, kicking him on the leg on his way out. The boy lies on the floor until dawn, eyes still black like holes, and the twitches growing into convulsive shakes. These people got some fucked up past. Jesus Christ. And I thought my dad bitch slapping me a couple times was bad. Holy cow. Well, I think I talked... Oh yeah, we still gotta go talk to Tenfrith too. That's what led us to the adventurers.
Good day, stranger.
The Black Hound. have a black hound. Tenfrith. Got all the beers. Spoons hang by the fire, coated in brownish gunk.
Hi, Tenfrith.
Ah, it's you, my savior. He makes a sweeping gesture to indicate the kitchen around you. It's so good to be back. Do not think I'll let this go unrewarded. I've decided that you have earned the right to learn one of my most closely guarded secrets. My dearest recipe. After this, you'll eat nothing else. The party has gained the recipe, savory pie. A savory pie to keep you hale and hearty. May it serve you well in your travels.
Look like gonna search the table.
Development of a Crucible Knight Part 2. Well, we gotta save that till we find Part 1, sir. Can't be reading books out of order. Beg pardon, sir. Don't have much time for talking.
Greetings.
Maybe I didn't ask about this. Let's go over it again.
Tell me more about the Black Hound.
Really? Well, let me see. The actual building's been here for years, but the Black Hound's fairly new. We get a lot of new faces in here, too. Fewer than we used to, I'll admit. Tenfrith's the big draw. I'm sure we'll get the big crowds back again in no time. I used to work the tables, actually, until the old owner up and left. Nobody's sure what happened to him. He even left this poor hound behind. That's the name, see? The Black Hound. It's still sitting upstairs, pining after him, poor old girl. Place ended up being in my hands somehow. My very own end. A lot of hard work involved, but it's been worth it so far. Please say what you'd like. Would you like a drink or a room? We have 2 available at the moment. I'm afraid I can't offer much by the way of a good meal today. Unless you're fond of cold porridge. Well, we do need to rest. The good old in-room cutscene rest screen. Your sleep is restless and fevered, assaulted by hisses and whispers, blanketed with the suffocating anxiety. You open your eyes to awaken and find yourself in front of the Gilded Vale's gallows tree, the creaking of its ropes growing louder in your mind until the sound is deafening. Hanging from the tree is an old dwarf woman whose face is shriveled inward like moldering fruit. Her head hangs limply to one side. As you look at her, she looms larger and larger in your mind until she is mere inches from your face. Suddenly your head snaps up and her eyes open, and they are empty, and behind them is a vast nothingness that makes your stomach drop. Her mouth slowly parts, and with a gust of rancid air she speaks a word. Watch out! You jolt awake, the foul smell of the dwarf woman's breath still permeating on your nostrils. Sweat runs down your face in thick droplets, and your skin is soaked from head to toe. You remember the woman. You remember seeing her decaying face when you spoke with the magistrate. He called her an animancer. Thoughts fill you with new queasy apprehension. You feel a strange compulsion to see this woman once more, if only to confirm she is truly dead. We took the common room because we're not very wealthy or well-known or rich adventurers right now. Looks like I leveled again. That's always nice. Thank you, thank you. I'm gonna hold off for now. Same with you, Lug Lug. You bite your tongue. Let's go talk to this dog again. Feel bad for him. The hound stares intently at the covered window, head cocked as if waiting to hear a particular sound. It looks up when you approach and whines a low note, tail wagging slightly.
I could use a good dog. Here, girl.
The dog ears perks up. It trots over to you and barks happily. You have gained an item, Black Hound, added to inventory. Alright, alright. Well, we'll rock our new pet in the next video then, because we got to give our little Black Drake a little more airtime. But there is my Black Hound pet. Small dog has a glossy black coat and an affable disposition. She trots along at your heels, gazing up devotedly whenever you come to a stop. We have a Catahoula dog. It's 15 years old. It's my fiance's, and she was blind from birth. It was going to be put down, and my fiance decided to take it home and save its life, and here she is going on 16 now and still getting around. It's very weird living with a blind dog that you can kind of watch map out and blueprint a room or a house that it's in. But yep. Bumping into walls is completely a normal day. Anyways, let's see. You want to be our book bitch, Elof? Totally cool with that. Requires 2 lore.
I can handle that.
Here you go, Meiji Poo. Notice Lug Lug has 3 sets of items available. Everyone else just has 2. Your quick sets. What am I? Put a hunting bow and then other one. Fruit. Fruit is yummy. Ron Stock looks good in black. We're going to give him the obsidian cape. Love that we have Psy Arts. Amazing portraits here. There's even a signature down there. You can barely see it, but I'm starting to wish I would have kept the other portraits. I think I just straight up deleted them. But that's alright. These are the ones that matter. Oh, and it's on Mystic Voice. No, I think I decided I wanted no voice. Cannot change the AI stuff. I did keep old Lug Lug without the helmet because of course we will toggle between the two. Pretty neat. Pretty neat.
Well,
I think we're done in here for now. Let's maybe head back out to that crazy tree.
You think she'll say yes?
She's mad enough to lie with you. Why would she not wed you while she's at it? Well, there's a glowing body. Good chance that's the one we need to converse with. Caldera di Buranzi, the squat, distended body of an elderly dwarf woman, dangles from a thin, crooked bough that sags at the tug of her noose. The bloated purple flesh of her neck, worn away in patches like moth-eaten linen, bulges over the rope that suspends her, and her lifeless head lolls forward rigidly from one side to the other. When the breeze shifts, you perceive a faint glow around her that casts no light on its surroundings, but there's a tepid warmth to it, and you feel somehow that you could reach out and touch it. Not with your hands, but with some aspect of yourself that has no worldly dimension. You take a deep breath, clearing your mind, focusing on your objective. As you exhale, you feel yourself spreading out toward the hanging woman, perceiving all that lies between you and her with a new, unfamiliar awareness. Once you've expanded enough to reach her, there's a sudden jolt in your mind, a ringing, electric surge of images, words, and sounds. Involuntarily, you shut your eyes and feel yourself being pulled down to some deeper consciousness in a space occupied only by you and the hanging woman. And when you open them again, she is staring at you with eyes clouded in milky fog, her body still swaying in the wind you no longer feel from a tree that stands planted in a misty void. The woman gives a slow nod of her head, the rope creaking as she does so, and she smiles at you.
Have you come here for me, dear?
Or have you gotten lost?
Oh, you got it. You got it, girl.
It is both, I think. Yes?
Am I imagining this?
No, I think not. A pity that. It would be simpler. A mercy even. To not have to wander anymore, no? Alas, we are here, you and I, wherever here may be.
How are you able to speak to me?
Is that what we're doing? Perhaps it just seems that way. Perhaps it is the easiest way for your mind to make sense of it. I think it is a very good choice.
I need to understand something that's happened to me.
She nods, a look of pity on her face as though consoling a child.
The world looks a little different than it used to, is that it? Feels like you're noticing things for the first time that have always been there.
She nods.
You have seen past the shroud. It only takes an instant. Your soul remembers, yes? Remembers how it sees when it leaves the body, like being reminded of a dream you had forgotten. You are a watcher now, and a watcher you will stay.
Huh? What's a watcher?
What indeed? Long hours have many animancers spent studying such things. Not I, though. Not I. I'll tell you what I know, though, since fair is fair, and here we are visiting, you and I, and it reminds me of better times. Souls pass on, some say through Audra stones, which are the blood veins of the world. They leave the world for a time and are reborn into it, sometimes more than they were before, but usually less and seldom the same. For all souls there is a time where they do not live, yet have not passed on. And those souls roam the world, same as you or I, either living or lost. But no one sees them because they have forgotten how. A watcher sees, though, knows what to look for. And sometimes they know a person just by looking at them. Know where they've been in ages past when their bodies were other bodies. See memories even their owner can't recall. A wonder to behold when all goes well. A wonder!
What do you mean when all goes well?
Oh, nothing to be afraid of, I'm sure. It's just much to take in for some. Sometimes there's trouble sleeping or other difficulties.
She smiles at you reassuringly, fanning out a tuft of long whiskers that sprouts from one of her cheeks.
You should see old Mayorwald. He could tell you much more than I. A watcher just like you. Helped many in his day. Took up in an old keep no one would claim. Not far, not far. Kadnua, beyond the Black Meadow. He will welcome the company.
I think I survived a bivouac. Do you know why that would be?
Did you now, dear? My, that would be something, wouldn't it? Could be luck, could certainly be. A storm can be a careless thing. Or maybe it got its hands around your soul but couldn't pick it up. A soul can be heavy if it stayed in one piece through its time. Strong souls, we call them in the trade. Cold, I mean. Called them. Those days are all behind me now.
You said souls break apart over time?
Oh, yes. Entropy. Rimagan's work. We know little of why or how. We lose pieces of ourselves when we die and pick up pieces of others when we are born again, but less than what we lost. We tried to stop it with the animantic sciences, but with little success. A very small few resist Rimergan's influence and stay together through some force of defiance, at least for a time. But they all succumb eventually, I think.
I want to know something about you.
Me? I'll bore you to tears, though. And here I thought you'd come to visit me in particular. Caldera de Baranzi, of the Valian Royal Academy of Animantic Sciences. Not the greatest of their number, but I came here all the same because this was where help was needed.
What happened to you?
She laughs, a rasping choked cackle escaping between rows of buttery yellow teeth, causing her body to bob up and down with each spasm. Seeing your blank expression, she catches herself.
Oh, come now. Such a question. As though the answer were plain as a rope tied for strangling. Allow an old dwarf her last bit of cheer. Well, I came where I was needed, didn't I? Offered my services to Lord Radric for a pittance. A humble pittance. I was to examine the Lord's wife, see why the gods have seen fit to poison her womb. Studied her for months, looked high and low for impurities, tested her valence, the permeability of her essence. Do you know what I found?
No, and I don't really care, but go ahead and tell me anyways.
Nothing at all. A healthy woman, head to toe, blessed with a beautiful soul. Such a sweet woman, too. Meek, but warm-hearted. A few months' time, and the lord of the house demanded answers. For a time, I told him what he wanted to hear. Oh, yes, my lord. She is riddled with imbalances. I must have time to cure her. As the birth drew near, he grew impatient, as lords do. And this is where I've ended up.
What's an animancer?
A student of the soul. Something so basic, yet so poorly understood. But so many breakthroughs have been made in my lifetime. Had been made. Had been. To hear the locals tell it, we're a gang of soul manglers that preys upon the weak-minded. And the worst of us are. But the best of us? The best? Inspirations. Miracle workers. My parents were soul twins. Miserable before they met, empty inside. It was an animancer who helped one find the other. Turned their lives around. You wouldn't believe the stories. Amnesiacs helped to remember their lives. The suicidal brought back from the brink of oblivion. The elderly afforded extra moments to say their goodbyes. How soon we forget when we're afraid. It's a fascinating science. A fascinating time to be alive in a place like Deerwood that does not control the research, no? I love the Valian republics for many things, but their recent caution will leave them behind, I fear.
I had other questions.
Of course, dear.
No, never mind. Farewell.
Goodbye, my dear. It was lovely visiting.
Caldera closes her eyes, and her head slumps forward over the noose, and your surroundings seem to bleed into your vision from some unknown place of waiting. Luglug was granted Crucible of the Soul. Aloth looks at you through narrowed eyes. Are you alright? You seemed lost just now.
That happens a lot. You'll have to get used to it.
He folds his arms. That's good to know, but I don't suppose you could tell me what that was all about.
I'm a watcher.
His arched eyebrow recedes into his hood. Well, that is interesting. He gives you a sly grin, and I expect that this has something to do with the hooded figures in the rooms, In any case, I appreciate your honesty. Since we're traveling together, it's probably wise for us to share these things.
Do you know anything about watchers?
Only that they're rare, and that they seem to have unique insights into certain soul conditions. As you just demonstrated.
Let's continue on. Luglug don't have time for this shit.
What's up, Lugs? Our athletic and survival master. Can get blooded now. Causes the barbarian to lash out when in pain, granting a bonus to damage for as long as his or her endurance is below 50. Oh yeah, we'll take that. Travel to Caed Nua. Well, let's look at Aloth. Really didn't do much research here, but oh well. So I guess I can save points as well. We'd still want to give him some lore, so that he is casting spells correctly and using scrolls, so we'll keep that going up. Binding Web! Ooh, I love web. Combusting Wounds. Ooh, level 2 spells. Fuck yeah. Ron Stock is gonna be my, for sure gonna be my offensive spell guy, but I like dual offensive wizards. But I might go to maybe some more, you know, other spells. Well, I get 2, which is nice. Maybe defensive with this wizard. Aloth can be the defensive wizard, and Ron Stock can be the crazy offensive glass cannon. Damage reduction against the elements. Spell webs is probably cool for slowing down people. Bewildering spectacle creates a bizarre and perplexing visual distraction, confusing enemies in the area of effect. Merciless gaze. The caster becomes able to see an enemy's weakness and vulnerabilities as though they were physically tangible, increasing the chance of landing a hit. That's for the caster. I'm not big on the casting melee spells on my wizards. Necrotic Glance, that's definitely a Ronstock spell. Conceal Halt's Corrosive Siphon. Eats away at the target's spirit, inflicting corrosive damage and converting that essence into the endurance for the caster. Creates a scorching ray of flame between the caster and the target, inflicting continual burn damage. And creates a rebounding ball of fire, inflicting burn damage upon anyone in its path. Sounds fun too. I'm not sure what to take, folks. I'm gonna go with Curse of Blackened Sight. Shrouds the target's vision in total darkness, blinding them. This is an area of effect spell. I want to get some fire spells too, though. To 17. Bounces up to 3 times. That sounds like a fun spell. I'm sure we can get all the spells anyways, so. We'll start with these. Why not?
What is it?
Scattered between the roots are bracelets of twine and bead. Wilting flowers and notes half erased by the rains.
$17.
The smell of pipe smoke, at once earthy and sweet, winds its way into your nostrils. Your eyes trace the smoke to its origin, where you find a broad man with straw-colored hair leaning against a mossy rock, his pipe held to his lips with one meaty hand. He looks at you directly in the eye, but the look is not aggressive. He regards you with a peculiar smirk.
17 and a half. Well, it could be 18, depending on how you count the dwarf woman.
Huh? What are you talking about?
The people hanging from the tree. 18 of them. Well, last I counted, anyway.
Hello, frowns. Is that what you people do for fun around here?
Name's Eder. So do the people around here. Might as well be 19. Don't think I'd put you much higher than 22, 23 tops. You look like the sort that likes to get involved.
What was that about the dwarf, dickhead?
The dwarf woman. You were trying to figure out whether to count her as a full person. I think you oughta.
Yeah, I got it. What makes you think I'm interested in the dwarf woman?
He looks at you a moment, his brow arched. His smirk broadens.
I was smoking over here, saw you staring at her. Twice I refilled my pipe. You never so much as blinked. Your mouth was so slack I took you for a Radric at first.
Impossible! I don't drool half as much!
God damn it, I got a clicking problem. You'll have to forgive my curiosity around here. We prefer to turn a blind eye to our dead.
Do you know what a watcher is?
Careful, friend. Best not use that word round here. Could be any number of Radric bootlickers within earshot. Ciphers, animancers, watchers. Same thing in the eyes of folks around here, Radric especially. They come through these parts all the time with their cures, preying on the desperate. None of them are who they claim to be. Of course, seeing you with that funny look, I'd be halfway inclined to believe you were having some kind of communion with that dwarf. Either case, maybe I'm not 19 after all. No offense.
Don't be so sure!
Hey, don't blame me. I don't have a say. You can take my word for that.
The town's had it in for me for a long time now. Only fellow who ever stuck up for me, well, he's number 18 up there. My headman on the farm. Used to be my captain during the war.
The war?
Saints War. Only one in my lifetime. Fella decides he's the living incarnation of Eothas. Overthrows Retsaris. Marches on Deerwood. So he gave him the Deerwoodian hello.
What's a Deerwoodian hello?
We blew him up.
He smiles at this, but it is a smile of one recounting a joke for effect rather than enjoyment.
Who is Eothas?
God of rebirth and redemption. Formerly, anyhow. Maybe they call him something different where you're from.
Why was your headman hanged?
Godwald. Redrick sent men down here the other day. Said that they had it on good authority someone in town was working with Kolsk, plotting Redrick's overthrow. Said if he didn't come forward right then and there, they'd hang every last one of us. No one was coming forward, so Swithin, that's my headman, he steps up and says it's him. They took him at his word. He shakes his head, his eyes fixed on the tree. Bound to happen sooner or later. If not for plotting against Redrick, then for protecting me.
What does your town have against you?
Pick the wrong god. That's what it comes down to. Used to be a lot of Aethys worshippers in Gilded Vale. That mess of rocks over there, that was a temple to him, to give you some idea. Then one day, somebody named Widewind shows up on Deerwood's doorstep. Says he's the living flesh of Aethys. Got an army with him. Suddenly, Aethys isn't so popular in these parts. My brother Woden and me, neither of us believed it. No way was that Aethys. He enlisted, then I did too. But, he didn't make it back. After the war, people took to punishing Aethys worshippers, accusing them of treason. Got real ugly, especially after the legacy started. Folks needed someone to blame. I was safe because I fought, but then this rumor starts that my brother, that he was on the wrong side. And I wasn't so safe anymore. Until my headman stepped in and said they'd have to hang him to get to me. Seems that's no longer a concern. Of course, the townies don't do the hanging these days, but when Raedrick's men come, they got no problem doing the pointing.
Aloth glances at you and lowers his voice. You can see why I was eager to leave.
Who's Kolsk?
Someone who got tired of all the hangings. He's on the run now. Probably will be till they catch him.
If you're hanged next, then what are you still doing here?
Drinking, mostly. Point of fact, I'm on my way out. Just haven't figured out where I'm going yet. Not a whole lot of places out there that don't think Wadewin's legacy started with Wadewin.
We could travel together. You're kind of a smartass. I like it.
Where you headed? Someplace called Colonial. Oh, where you headed? Yeah.
Someplace called Cade now? Huh? There's an old watcher there who might be able to help me.
Seem to remember hearing something about that years ago. He tamed that place. People would seek him out for all kinds of things. Troubles of the soul, questions for the departed. Of course, that was back when you didn't have to say watcher with a hush on your breath. A man such as that, there'd be things I'd want to ask him. Don't know why I never thought of it before.
Something kindles in Eder's eyes, and a vigor of purpose finds its way into his voice. Eder? Eder's eyes? Eder? I like Eder better. Eder better get.
Not sure how I feel about setting out with a stranger.
Never mind.
And a strange one at that.
It's dumb.
But, truth be told, you might be the only one in town who wouldn't feel some relief seeing me swing from that tree.
That's a fine reason if I've ever heard one.
All right, then. Guess I'll do some sightseeing. Long as you're not the one picking the sights.
He tilts his head forward to you and gives you a pointed look.
Let's get going. All right. We got 4 peeps now.
Yes.
Alright, well maybe we should check out Eder, he's a fighter. Let's check him out first, see what he's into. He's got a greenish-brownish cape. He's wielding a saber and a wooden shield. And a warbow. The warbows are outnumbered by hunting bows in Deerwood. Warbows are more popular among professional soldiers and adventurers. With a high draw weight and respectable speed, they possess a power unmatched by magical implements that don't have the lengthy reloading times of crossbows and firearms. Sabers are curved, single-edged swords capable of inflicting severe wounds. Though they are less effective against armor than standard swords, they are deadly against unarmed enemies. He's wearing the Saints War Armor. Unique medium armor. Damage reduction of 7. Eder wore this armor during his time in the Saints War. Its dark color is unusual, as is its power. Though he admits the armor has been pulled him from the brink of death on several occasions, he claims that no one else has ever handled the armor. How it became enchanted is a mystery even to him. It's got 2 enchantments on it. I'm going to enchant it again. No, I'm not. I don't know. I don't even have the slightest clue how to enchant anything. So I'm guessing the enchants are +3 damage reduction and grants second chance on unconsciousness once per rest. It's pretty good. Okay, I'm going to keep our fighter formation here. Let's go like this.
All right, then.
What is it?
There we go. Keep our fighters up front. Mages in the back. So I think we also want him to be good at athletics and survival. Oh man, so many things to choose from. An extra knockdown per encounter. This is going to be more of our tank. So I think we'll go with one-handed style. Seems like a safe bet. He's now going to get another level. Fighter adopts a more conservative combat strategy, concentrating on locking down enemies that stray too close. The fighter increases his or her number of engagement targets to 3, but at the expense of deflection. The fighter devotes all his or her energy to defending allies, lowers accuracy but increases the deflection of nearby allies. I don't know that anyone will be necessarily that close besides Lug. I'm actually going to take Defender. And we are going to make you Tank. Lug's deflection is terrible, so we do not want him gathering too much aggro. Characters are also respectable, so if I make any grave mistakes throughout this, of course, I will have Mr. Satan amongst the rest of you telling me to change that shit.
God damn it, Game Hoarder, why did you pick pussy control? That's a terrible skill. There's no pussy in the game.
What is it?
No, that's not true. Wow, so many other places still to go. Have you ever been to Defiance Bay? No, but I'm picking up some Pilgrim's Crown now. Get the fuck away from me. Lion. Beneath the vines are crude carvings of a sun rising over 3 stars. I'm not sure I want to come down here into the catacombs quite yet, but let's see what's up. A rising sun and the 3 dawn stars, the symbol of Eothas.
I haven't been in here for, must be 5-6 years. Used to be real nice. Bright. Warm.
Help me!
A man lies resting against the wall, lit by the dim illumination of fading sconces. He has a not fox-like aspect, and his face is pale and damp with sweat. One arm is held loosely against his side, sleeve soaked with blood. He gives you an anxious glance as you near his features twisted with pain.
Greetings.
He's speaking to me in Armois. Ha! Thought you were some... Never mind. Whoever you are, you've traveled a long way to reach this dark place. This temple isn't what it used to be, probably for the best. Times being as they are. Ugh. He groans as he shifts position, wincing. I'm no looter, if that's what you're thinking. No, one of the faithful either. Just wanted to do some good, I suppose. Got my arm clawed up for it. He regards you warily. Maybe you'd have better luck.
Better luck with what?
The man points fingers upwards. These ruins around us used to be the temple of Eothas, scattered god, grand temple at that. His worshippers would come from all over the Deerwood, from Red Ceres even. Not so much from Red Ceres these days. Until the war, of course. Even then you'd get some stubborn ones. The ones that couldn't get it through their heads that their god was dead and gone.
Get to the point, asshole!
As you like. Once the legacy started, Lord Redrick decided he'd be too lenient on the Thelsians. He had his people go in and put them all to the sword. Left them down there, buried under a heap of rock. Heretics or not, their death didn't stop the legacy. Didn't do much of anything at all. They didn't deserve to go like that, chopped down in the god's house. If you can get down there, find the remains, maybe we can finally give them a proper burial. Wertan breathes out. No small task. There's coin in it for you if you need motivating. Outlaw's cautious expression softens. A pleasant surprise to see that someone around here has a shed of respect for the dead.
Wait, you want me to bring you some skeletons?
I'd bury them where they are if I could. I know it's a little macabre, but if you don't get them out now, Redrick's liable to destroy whatever's left of them.
They're long dead. What does it matter where they're buried?
It's about respect, isn't it? About deserving to be remembered, not just tossed under a pile of rock and forgotten. He breathes out shakily. I thought it worth the effort, giving it to them.
Okay. I'll find them. Hopefully some treasure down here.
And by the flame, I owe you a good turn, but listen. The temple's been sealed off for so long it's crawling with creatures and shit. But if you get past them, the priest would have been down on the lower floor. They'll be there still, if they're anywhere. Those priests had all kinds of secret chambers, switches in the walls, trick sconces, that kind of shit. Keep an eye out and take care down there. I don't want you to have to send someone else after your remains. I'll wait here by the stairs and keep a lookout. Maybe try to patch myself up some. Alright, folks. It's going to wrap it up for video 4 here. Will we continue down into the darkness of the crypts and help bury the remains, or will we scuttle back up to the surface of the town and complete our scouting? Because that's really what I was doing, was scouting. And we have plenty more scouting to do upstairs, but on the other hand, we can go ahead and knock this out and then return and continue scouting afterwards. I mean, why not? We're here already. I don't want to break the immersion. Anyways, tell me what you think in the comments below. Maybe it'll help sway me. Maybe I won't give two shits and I'll do what I want to do anyways. Until next time, ta-ta, and enjoy more Pillars of Eternity soon to come.